Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Hacking with Ken. So today we're going to study a concept or model we can say in cybersecurity, which is cyber kill chain. Now, the cyber kill chain framework is designed for identification and prevention of network intrusion. So basically, it's based on how hackers do their job, so you can stop them. You will learn what the adversaries need to do in order to achieve their goals. So basically in the introduction part we have this first step is recon, which is reconnaissance, information gathering and everything. And then we have weaponization, which is the second part in which we choose the weapon. Then in third we have delivery, in which we deliver the attack or we exploit the system. Then fourth step we have the exploitation. Now it's time to run the button. Next we have installation. We install some module to escalate our privileges like mimic cards. Then we have command and control. We take command and control of the system from interpreter. The best example, actions on objective. Now what's our objective? We need database, we need what stuff. So this is our action objective. The term kill chain is a military concept related to the structure of attack. It consists of target identification, decision, and order to attack of target, and finally the target destruction. Basically, this was originated from a military concept, basically thanks to Lockheed Martin, a global cybersecurity and aerospace company that established a cyber kill chain framework for the cybersecurity industry in 2011 based on the military concept. So basically, this framework really comes in handy. This framework defines the step used by adversaries or malicious actors in cyberspace, or you can say hackers. To succeed, an adversary needs to go through all phases of kill chain. We'll go through all the phases of kill chain and help you better understand adversaries and the technique used in attack. Defend yourself. So well, the next thing is why you need to understand the kill chain. The cyber kill chain will help you understand and protect against the ransomware attacks. So basically, this is one of the most benefit that you can learn against the ransomware attack, if the system is vulnerable or not, security breaches, as well as advanced persistent threats. You can use cyber kill chain to assess your network and security system by security by identifying missing security controls and close certain security gaps based on your company infrastructure. So basically, if you're a pen tester in company, go through this framework. If you find any flaw, then your network or system is vulnerable, then patch that as soon as possible. By understanding the kill chain as a SOC analyst, security or security operation research analyst, basically operation center, sorry, threat hunter and incident responser, you'll be able to recognize the intrusion attempts and understand the intruder goals and objectives. There we go. We have first reconnaissance, then we have weaponization, then we have delivery, exploitation, installation, command and control, and then we have actions on objective. Now, we have read the above. Now let's go into the next task. Well, in this we have reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is covering and collecting information on the system of a victim and the victim, on the system and the victim. And the reconnaissance phase is planning phases for the adversary. So basically, it's all about gathering information. Doesn't matter what you use. OSINT also falls under the reconnaissance. Basically, OSINT is open source intelligence. Is the first step. You gather the information which is available and accessible to anyone on the internet who uses the internet. So this is OSINT, and this is very best to explain the reconnaissance scenario. Here's the scenario. A malicious attacker who named himself Megatron decided to conduct a very sophisticated attack that he has been planning out for years. He has been studying and researching different tools and techniques that could help him to get last phase of cyber kill chain. But first, he needs to start from reconnaissance phase. Everything starts from the information gathering. If you don't know information gathering, you don't know anything. So next we have email harvesting, is a process of obtaining email addresses from the public, paid or free services. Basically, you can find that email online. There's no big deal. You can use the harvester tool. You can use hunter.io. You can use the OSINT framework. Now, what is the name of Intel gathering tool? That is web-based frame interface for the common tools and resource for open source intelligence. Well, it's the OSINT framework. OSINT framework is a website basically. Then we have what is definition of for email gathering process during this stage of reconnaissance. Of course, it's email harvesting as we read here. We can do that using the harvester hunter.io and OSINT framework. Now, the second step is weaponization. Now, what is weaponization? After a successful reconnaissance state, Megatron would work on a crafting weapon on destruction. He would prefer not to interact with a victim directly, and instead he will create a weaponizer that, according to Lockheed Martin, combines malware and exploit into a deliverable payload. So basically, you will create some. It's the best example of phishing. Basically, you create an email, which is an email, then you a malicious email basically which falls into malware category, then you can put some file or some exploit, some basically some malicious code into that email to download or attachment. When it and when you send it, it will become a payload. Okay, it's a combination of malware and exploit. Okay, let's find the terminology before we analyze that. Weaponization phase: malware is a program or software that is designed to damage, disrupt, and or gain unauthorized access to a computer. An exploit is a program or code that takes advantage of the vulnerability or flaw in the application of system. A payload is malicious code that the attacker runs on the system. Continuing with our adversary, Megatron choose to buy an already written payload from someone else in the dark web so he can spend more time on the other phases. So basically, you can create your own, or you can just buy from the dark web or pick up from anywhere. So, in weaponization, the attacker would create an infected Microsoft Office Word document, malicious macro, Visual Basic application. If you want to learn about macro, please refer to the article. An attacker can create a malicious payload or a very sophisticated form, implant it into USB drive, then disrupt them into system. There are a lot of ways to do that, basically. An attacker would set a backdoor implant. So there are a lot of ways that you can do it. The term refers to a group of commands that perform a specific task. You can think of them as subroutines or functions that contain the code that you use to perform your task. But malicious actors tend to use them for malicious purposes. I think it's macros, uh, macro. Oh, no, macro. Yeah, it's macro basically, as we saw it on above. Malicious macro, visual based application scripts. The attacker use them for their malicious purposes. So then we have delivery phase. The delivery phase is when Megatron decide to choose the method for transmitting the payload. Now, this is where it comes in handy. This is where you choose whether it's you will do a phishing email, how you will do it, for by USB, by a phishing email, by a watering hole attack. Watering hole attack is pretty fancy basically. A watering hole attack is targeted attack designed to aim at a specific group of people by compromising the website they're using, usually visiting, and then redirected them to a malicious website of attacker choice. Basically, so you are in a network, you you observe over a week that people come here and open their Facebook account. Now it's time for you to do some DNS poisoning and redirect them to your own Facebook. So basically, what will happen? They will give you credentials, and there we go. You will have their Facebook credentials. So phishing is like that, or I think they fall under into the same category. But I think phishing can be done to a solo or a group too. But watering hole attack can only be done to a specific group, basically, like finance management. You want to attack the finance management, then you will attack the finance management after conducting. And it's also contain emails, anything more of stuff like websites, emails. uh, it can even a message or a link or anything. And there is pair phishing attack, which is in which you target a specific purpose. Now, what is the name of attack when it perform against a specific group of people? And attackers seek to infect the website that the mentioned group of people constantly utilizing is watering hole attack. Watering hole attack basically it's, and there we go. So now let's move on to exploitation phase. To gain the access of system, an attacker needs to exploit the vulnerability. In this phase, Megatron got a little bit creative. He created two phishing emails. One could contain a phishing link to fake Office 365 login page, and other one containing a macro attachment that would execute ransomware when the victim opens it. So basically, it's like embedding that payload, embedding that malicious file with that payload. A Megatron successfully delivered his exploit and got two victims to click on the malicious link and open a malicious file. After gaining access to the system, the malicious actor could exploit system, software, or server-based vulnerabilities to escalate the privileges or move laterally through the network. So this is where it comes in handy. This is where you use mimic cards or install something or install some shell, install some script, exploit some services, exploit some old binary to escalate your privileges. Now, according to the CrowdStrike, lateral movement refers to a technique that a malicious actor uses after gaining initial access to victim machine to move deeper into a network to obtain sensitive data. And I think lateral movement is also about the pivoting. I think so, but um, I don't know specific that lateral movement or pivoting are the same, but I know the pivoting concept and it's that too. Because in pivoting, when you get access to a specific server, then you have to move into their network. Okay, you expand your connections. Like if you got access to 2031, now you got access to a server, now it's time to move on to the into their network, like into their private network. So you can do that, and it's called pivoting. You can do that by backdooring, ssh tunneling, many steps you can take. So basically this was pivoting and lateral movement saying the same. So I think these both are same, but let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Let me. If you want to learn more about these server-based or web vulnerabilities, please refer to the Draw Hack Me Room OWASP 10, which is really good open web application security pen testing, I think, program. Sorry, open web application security program, top 10. Basically, it's a very big community, and they provide vulnerabilities of web, like which occurs really often. The attacker might apply a zero-day exploit in this stage. According to FireEye, the zero-day exploit or zero-day vulnerability is an unknown exploit in the wild that exposes a vulnerability in software or hardware and can create complicated problems well before anyone realizes something is wrong. Zero-day exploit leaves no opportunity for detection at the beginning. So basically, you have for example, Microsoft releases Windows 11 and someone else finds a vulnerability. Now they will exploit the vulnerability as much as they can, and without informing the corporation. So this is a zero-day attack, and corporation didn't know that this vulnerability existed. They didn't test it, they released it, they left some loopholes. So basically someone else exploited it. Now it's zero-day attack. So can you provide the name for okay, it will be zero day. Basically, if how to write this, how can I write this? It's zero day. Okay, now we have exploited the system. Now it's time for installation, and we can do installing a web shell on the server. Now first read that. As you have learned from weaponization phase, the backdoor lets an attacker bypass security, measure and hide the access. A backdoor is known as the access point. Once the attacker gets to a system, he would want to re-access the system. So basically, when you get access to a system, you don't want to lose that connection, right? So you'll install some kind of backdoor into it. Okay, some kind of stuff. So basically, you can get back into that system whenever you want. It's you can also do that by backdooring, SSH backdoors, web backdoors, and like mid-operator shells and everything. You can do that, but there are a lot of methods out there. So this is where attacker needs to install a persistent backdoor. A persistent backdoor will let the attacker access the system he compromises in the past. So basically, you can check out this persistence room, and you can do that. Can you provide the technique used for modify file time attributes and file time attribute change to existing files? It's called time stomping, basically, as you can see in above. In this phase, attacker also use the time stopping technique to avoid detection by forensic investigator. Now, you will change the time attributes, which is how there are time. Sorry about that. When you modify file, the file gets updated and say this file was modified at this time. And if you can change that, you can escape forensics, because they won't know that this file was modified. You can set the original date when it was just kept, where it was not modified. So they will never know that you modified them. So basically this is a time storming is a great way, and Mimi interpreter can do that very easily. Can you name the malicious script planned by an attacker on the web server to maintain access to the compromised system and enables the web server to be accessed remotely? It will be web shell, as I said. In the next step, we have command and control. After getting persistent executing malware on victim machine, Megatron opens up the C2 command and control channel through the malware to remotely control and manipulate the victim. This term is also known as CNC or C2 beaconing, as type of malicious communication between CNC server and malware on the infected host. The infected host will consistently communicate with a C2 server. That is also where the beaconing term came from. The compromised endpoint would communicate with an external server set up by attacker to establish command and control channel. After establishing the connection, the attacker has full control of the victim machine. Until recently, IRC was a traditional C2 channels used by attacker. This is no longer the case, as modern security solution can easily detect the IRC traffic. Now basically this is about command and control. In our previous step, the installation will install a backdoor. Now it's time to access the backdoor again. And so basically these are the most common C2 channels: port 80 on HTTPS, port 443, DNS. Basically, what is this C2 communication? Where victim makes regular DNS request to DNS server and domain which belongs to an attacker. So it's DNS tunneling basically. As I said, there are a lot of type of tunneling: SSH tunneling, web tunneling, then there is DNS tunneling, and most of stuff. Now we have actions on objective. This is our basically the actions, so you can do that. Now, can you provide a technology included in Microsoft Windows that create backup copies of snapshots or files or volumes of computer even when they are in use? It's shadow copy basically that create backup copies. You can see that here, and shadow copy is great thing in a Microsoft technology, uh, perhaps or not. As you can see, we can we can be a victim of that. Now here is a real world scenario for you to take. The infamous Samsung attack will lead to one of the largest data breaches in history. Took place on November 27, 2013, and on the December 19, 2013, Target released a statement confirming the breach that starting the approximately 14 million credit and debit card accounts were were impacted between November 27 and December 15, 2013. Target had to pay the fine of 18.5 million under the terms of multi-state settlement agreement. This is considered to be the largest data breach settlement in the history. Now we have to deploy a static website to prove we know the cyber kill chain. Now these are the scenarios. We need to put them in their specific order. Now at the first, I will we have weaponization. So I think PowerShell would be in weaponization, but we can check the answer later. And I don't know if it's wrong, but I think there are, I think I know already the answer. Delivery, yeah. But I'm not gonna do that. But in second, it's a spear phishing attack because it's delivery phase, and in the third, which is what was the third? It's exploitation. Yeah, this is weaponization, this is exploitation. Now this is exploit facing publication, public facing application, I think. And this is the installation. So the installation will be the that no it's wait. Weaponization, we have delivery, we have exploitation, we have installation. Now what will we install? Dynamic linker hijacking, I think. Let's put that. Okay, yes, dynamic linker hijacking. Then we have what does it call, the command and control. The command and control will be the fallback channels. Yeah, it will be fallback channels, because it can command and control is done through channels. And there we go. Then we have the data from local system, which is the action on objectives. And there we go. So let's check we got it correct. We put them in the scenario, perfect scenario. There we go. And this is our answer. We have done pretty well. So basically we completed this room. So in the next video we're going to study a unified kill chain concept, and then we're going to study the diamond model and MITRE, basically MITRE framework. So be prepared for that. This is the SOC path, basically don't miss it. And I will install Wazoo and Snort and Splunk and all these things that are included in these paths. So take care guys, and happy hacking.